All right, good evening, Ellis County. This is Kevin Crouch with Ellis County Weather. And as you can see in the radar in front of you, it is about to come down on parts of Ellis County. And tonight we knew that there would be showers and thunderstorms coming in through part of the day today, but I didn't quite expect that we would be looking at severe weather the way that we are now. I expected these storms to be relatively docile, but this is May in North Texas. And we all know what happens in May in North Texas. Things get a little rowdy when the weather starts to get crazy. And so I will go ahead and say that we are not under any kind of warnings as of this moment. But I will also specify to you that there is a severe thunderstorm warning for the storm up to the north. And then as you see, Johnson County is lit up in kind of this blue polygon here. That's a special weather statement. And if we look at that, that specifies here, storms moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour, and that nickel-sized hail is possible in this storm. And that's really what's motivating the severe thunderstorm, really the watching of this storm, or the monitoring of this storm. Because as you can see, south of Burleson, almost down to Alvarado here, quite a bit of purple mixed in with all of this, and so that's going to cause some hail to be falling right along I-35W here. I'm primarily worried about the Midlothian area, eventually the Red Oak area, as this continues to move eastward. For the moment here, I'm not too concerned about really anywhere south of there. And so as this continues to track east-northeast, as you can see here, just north of Alvarado, just south of Happy Hill there, we have a little bit of light blue. That's going to be some of that most intense hail that we're looking at in all of this. So that is what's moving that way right now. And that's going to be pushing, again, off to the east. So from Venus to Ward and Midlothian, that particular area, that's what you're going to want to be watching for in the next few minutes. So let me kind of broaden this out here. So as you can see on 35W, and then here's 67. So this is the area that's really looking at most of the weather right now, from Happy Hill down to Alvarado, northern parts of Alvarado getting hammered right now. But Alvarado proper, right downtown, not a whole lot going on, but I'm sure you're definitely hearing it as you are there in that area. Let's take a broader look too and kind of see what's going on for the rest of Ellis County. Not a whole lot. As this storm continues to move off to the east-northeast, well, that looks terrible. Let me try that again. As this storm continues to move off to the east-northeast, that's going to move through the Midlothian area. I would say even we can probably put kind of a track on this and kind of show the areas that I'm concerned about. So it's moving east-northeast, so from Midlothian to northern parts of Waxahachie to the Red Oak area, on eventually into the Ferris area. That's really what we're going to be concerned about right now. The good news is that the areas that have been hit hard recently, this past week here, won't be seeing a lot of activity. The areas that were hit by that tornado, it doesn't look like you guys are at least going to be getting this particular storm. As we put this into motion, not only can you see where this is moving, but you also can kind of see that there's some additional rain developing south of that activity. And let me actually kind of shorten that down to just 7 frames so we're not looking at the whole life story of the storm. But you can tell that is again moving to the east, but there's a little bit of activity developing to the south, and we knew that this would be kind of a rainy evening, but we were not looking at this kind of severe weather. And I imagine that this particular storm moving towards Venus and Midlothian right now will probably be severe warned pretty soon. I imagine that's going to be happening pretty shortly. We should probably see a severe thunderstorm warning associated with this storm. It probably won't be a very large warning, at least not including a very large part of Ellis County. I don't imagine that it will, because this storm, again, is moving almost due east, maybe a little bit northeast. So we don't really anticipate this particular storm to be causing too many problems right off the bat. As we go to a broader view here, There's some heavier rain back around the Tulare area, heading towards Grandview and north of Glenrose there, and a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings from Tarrant up to Denton counties. And so this kind of cluster here is just kind of doing its thing, and we'll put that in motion. And this just started developing to the west. And so from Stephenville up to Mineral Wells, that area, we started to see these develop. And of course, I posted on the page, these are not severe, but very, very quickly it turned out that they did actually break into those severe limits. So let's zoom back in here just to give another view of what's going on. Hearing that there's really heavy rain at the edge of Venus and Alvarado. That sounds about right. Right off of 67 there. That's kind of where you're probably seeing a little bit of that hail as well as this storm continues to move off to the east. Getting some feedback on my audio here, so trying to make some adjustments there as well. So again, we're not looking at anything tornadic. If we look at let's take a look at the velocity view here. There are some stronger winds as this storm moves in, really from Mansfield all the way down to Grandview here. You can see kind of this brighter red color. Not really seeing anything concerning me about rotation that could be tornadic or anything of that nature. Not really seeing anything in that regard. And that's my cat scratching things behind me. He gets jealous of all of you getting attention. But again, not really seeing anything tornadic. So not worried about tornadoes tonight. I really do think that it's going to be a little bit too cool for that tonight. We're in the 60s. It's 60 degrees right here at this moment. And so I don't anticipate we're going to be looking at anything too terribly dangerous in that regard. Of course, hail can be dangerous as well. And Nathan Crow, you're saying dark clouds by your house. I don't know where your house is, so unless you want to give me a location, there's not a whole lot I can do with that. But some strong winds, possibly some hail mixed in with this too. But I think that's going to be the worst of it right now. And again, we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning yet for this storm. I do anticipate we probably will get one, but there isn't one right now at this moment. But I'm glad that we won't be putting up with severe weather the way that we thought that we might be on a normal day, or certainly what we would be looking at in terms of what we had this past Monday. And so I'm getting people talking about the severe thunderstorm warning, and yes, there it is. And I had my phone screen just off my periphery here, so thank you for jumping on that. We do have the severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued, and of course now we're my cat loves to do this. Right when a warning's issued, he likes to interrupt me. So that's an interesting trend of what usually happens there. He can call it better than you guys can half the time. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. That will pop up here on the screen very shortly. And that is going to go until 7:15. 7:15 tonight. So about another 40 minutes here. But another just under 40 minutes. Let's see what the National Weather Service is advising here. And National Weather Service saying that large hail continues to be the main threat. Yeah, we do have some winds associated with this storm, but not anything particularly tornadic. Yeah, looks like I've been having some issues with radar Omega today. Unfortunately, it looks like we might be dealing with some issues there. So let's switch over to the radar scope screen here to get kind of a better view of what's going on. So we do actually have, what's interesting is that the National Weather Service hasn't extended this warning a little bit further south than I initially anticipated. So it does look like from the area between Forreston and Waxahachie up to the Glen Heights area, we do have this severe thunderstorm warning. So that is anticipating the possibility of possibly some of this southern activity becoming severe, and possibly this storm taking a little bit of a right turn. We've talked about that a lot, about how some of these storms will kind of veer off to the right a little bit and could pose a threat to the Waxahachie area. I don't anticipate that at the moment. But we, again, are not looking at anything tornadic tonight. No tornado warnings, not even a tornado watch at this time. Just the severe thunderstorm warning currently impacting the northwestern quadrant of Ellis County right now. So the main threat right now is going to be the Venus area that's getting quite a bit of this in our area. In terms of what's in our area, quite a bit of hail probably right now. And then quickly moving into the Midlothian area, eventually moving into northern Waxahachie, Pecan Hill, Red Oak, Glen Heights, those areas. So this is the severe thunderstorm warning that you see on your screen here in this yellow polygon. That is the severe thunderstorm warning as it exists right now at this moment. And again, that does go until 7:15. And as you can see, quarter-size hail is a threat with this storm. And trained storm spotters reporting that hail size there. And of course, impact damage to vehicles is possible. Of course, if you're out there in person, you could have damage to you directly. Hail can hurt. Hail can hurt quite a bit, and so you have to be careful with that. At this very moment, it could very well be a little bit of a diminishing hail threat here. It's not quite as well defined a hail threat as we had earlier. So I'm not quite seeing too big a concern as far as that's concerned right now, but we will continue to watch this activity move off to the east over the next few minutes. Let's put this in motion so you can kind of see what this is doing. So here is this storm as it's moving in. Let's go ahead and make an adjustment on that too, because I don't want to show too many frames. I want you to be able to see what it's doing in this particular area. So this is the part of the storm that has persisted with that hail threat that's currently moving into the Venus and Midlothian areas right now. Possibly going to impact northern Waxahachie as it continues to move off to the east. The storm was moving to the northeast, but it is moving directly east at this point. So that's what we're looking at. Someone's asking, where's Arlington? Of course, Arlington's going to be north of Mansfield. On your map here, and getting reports of hail in Venus, and that does sound pretty consistent to what we're looking at. So that is in line with kind of the expectations that we have with this particular storm. And of course, let me just do another review. This is not the only storm out there. As we see, a new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Collin County up north of Dallas, and moving into the Dallas area is quite a bit of heavy rain as well. And then we see this activity from Hill County moving northward, and that's going to just be some more moisture feeding the storm. And of course, if you notice today, it's quite a bit cooler. We're right around 60 degrees here at the Jim Newport's Real Estate Weather Center right now, and that's really going to be kind of what we're looking at. So let me just do this real fast. See. Okay. So again, and I know this is going to be a repetitive question throughout the evening. No tornadoes are expected tonight. This is just not what we're expecting to see. So we could, again, probably see some hail with these storms as they move through, but not looking at a tornado threat. And let's just underline that with the fact that I am not seeing anything on the velocity view, which is what you see on the right, which is where we see the winds as the wind speeds, wind directions, that sort of thing. And so, one second, everyone. Okay. Matt, the moderator, is going to post a comment just saying, "Hey, we're not expecting any tornadoes tonight? I know that's going to be a very repetitive question, so we're just going to post a pinned comment up there directly saying, hey, we're not looking at that tonight. I know that we're all kind of gun shy from that happening, so I'm going to make sure that we have that actually static up there where it's just going to keep that message there where it's clear, that we are not expecting any tornadoes to happen tonight. So this is what we're working with right now. In this storm, we do again have this severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 7:15. So as this storm continues to move off to the east, and let's get back to where I can put this in motion for you. As the storm continues to move off to the east at around 40 miles per hour, it will be in a pretty good situation as far as the tornado threat goes. The temperatures are just too cool right now. We're not in a position to have any kind of it's certainly not the tornado threat that we had last Monday. I do want to say though that there could be some gusty winds that move through along with this storm as it goes, but that's really going to be it. And these wind speeds are not anything severe weather qualifying, to say, for lack of a better term. It's not any kind of 60 mile per hour wind gusts or anything. This storm could just bring in some gustier winds. Really what's bringing the severe thunderstorm warning is the possible hail. We could be seeing hail up to quarter size. That is what has been advised by the National Weather Service, is that some quarter-sized hail is possible with this storm. And as we look behind all of this, there's some heavier rain in the Toller and Granbury area, headed up to Oak Trail Shores. Not really looking anything major in that area either. We may still see a few showers and thunderstorms overnight tonight. In fact, our rain forecast is actually going to be getting rainier and rainier over the next few days as we continue to move into a very active pattern. Really, showers and thunderstorms are going to be the norm tonight, tomorrow night, and diminishing, finally tapering off Wednesday. So from tonight on through Tuesday night, we're going to be looking at a pretty rainy situation for our area. We're just going to be dealing with quite a bit of activity, but when it comes to severe weather, we'll take a look at in just a moment at the actual the severe weather threat as we're dealing with it tonight. In fact, let's go ahead and do that as we zoom out here. We actually pull up the so right now, this is for today. Now, this is where you see the slight risk of severe weather, or really marginal. We're looking at a marginal risk of severe weather, and then from Sherman on over to Shreveport, a slight risk there as these storms continue to move off to the east. They may intensify in this particular area, but not looking at any kind of big severe weather risk for tonight for our particular area. We don't even really have a watch effective at this point, because this was just not expected to be a major severe weather situation. And then what I'll do is go ahead and take a look at the categorical severe weather risk for tomorrow. I expect it to be pretty similar. I can just get the computer to cooperate here. Yeah. So for tomorrow, we have a marginal risk of severe weather, and the marginal risk goes from Texas all the way over to Georgia. They're just kind of saying, hey, I mean, it could happen, but no concentrated risk of severe weather tomorrow. Less of a risk even than today, and it wasn't really expected that much today. So I think there is a comment of Andrew asking if the hail core is weakening. It does appear that there is less of a hail threat right now in this storm than there was when this was in the Joshua and Keene area, when it was crossing 35W. But I will also say that I don't expect this to just stay docile the whole time. These storms, as I've talked about before, have a tendency to swell up and then kind of weaken down and then swell up and then weaken down. So we could very well see this storm ramp up again, which is why we need to keep this severe thunderstorm warning in place. We want to make sure we're watching that very, very closely. Just get zoomed in here, get a little bit of a better view. So you can see moving into the northern Waxahachie area right now. And as I mentioned, we may still see some gustier winds with this activity. I'm not expecting to see anything too terribly major over the next few minutes. I just don't think that this will be a terribly severe event. We're not going to be seeing any kind of catastrophic damage or anything of that nature. That's not going to really be in the equation for tonight. Plenty of heavy rain from Venus all the way to Midlothian, all the way to Cedar Hill and northward right now. Plenty of heavy rain to be had. A few hailstones mixed in with that. It really does look like for the moment that's that whole hail risk, and you can see where we just have this consistent pink, and then finally as it's moving into the Midlothian area, that hail risk is kind of diminishing a little bit at the moment. So I don't think that we have any major hailstones, not any of this huge hail that you often hear Reed Timmer talk about. I'm not going to use his slang because I'd like to use just regular terminology. But we are at least going to be watching for that over the next few minutes. So overall, not a major event. This is pretty much it. As far as what we're going to be seeing, this storm right here, as it continues to move off to the east at around 40 or so miles per hour, it's going to continue to trek through northern Ellis County. But as the comment says that's pinned, there is not a tornado threat expected for tonight. Not anticipating any kind of major event to take place. Certainly not expecting anything like what we saw in southern Waxahachie this past Monday. So, bit of a routine severe thunderstorm evening. I know that that's not routine for a lot of people, but as much as routine can be in May in North Texas, just some severe storms with some hail, possibly some strong winds coming through. That's going to be just about it. Just about it for tonight. Nothing too terribly major. Certainly nothing to interrupt your evening about. You want to make sure that you're indoors when this storm comes through, that we're not looking at we want to make sure that we're not looking at any kind of rotation or circulation, obviously, and we want to make sure, obviously, that the hail doesn't get too large, because at that point, that's when we have a completely different problem. And I know some areas are still dealing with flood issues. I have bad news for you. If you're dealing with flood problems, the next few days are not going to be the best for you. Being completely honest, it's really going to be a continuation, really, of just the rainy trends we've had going on recently. It's just going to be more of the same that we've had, more and more rain that's going to be falling over the next, I would say, well, really, as I mentioned before, we're going to have pretty solid rain overnight tonight, so it will continue overnight tonight through today, tomorrow, and then tomorrow night it's going to continue. Finally, Wednesday, the rain chances go down to about 30%. So, okay, and Jessica, you're saying that there's hail damage reports. And Katrina, what I'll remind you of is you're expecting any hail expected for your area of Ellis County. You have to tell me where that is, because just as a reminder, I can't, this whole the chat, if you will, is what word I was looking for. It doesn't tell me where you're located, so I can't just know that. So Katrina, you're asking about the rocket area. Hail is possible for that area. Really, hail is possible anywhere in this polygon. So that's why you have these polygons here, that if you are in that particular area, you want to be sure that you're watching where those polygons are. If you're outside of the polygon, hey, you're free and clear. Now, if the storm's moving eastward like this one is, and you are on the east side of the polygon, obviously at that point you want to start paying attention. But if you're behind it or north or south of it, usually you're going to be fine. You just have to pay attention to which way the storms are moving. Ennis, you're asking about, Kenneth, you're asking about the Ennis area as you're doing some outside activities right now. The Ennis area will, for the most part, be fine as far as severe weather is concerned. Not really seeing anything there. You may get some of these showers that continue to move through that particular area later on this evening, but this particular severe warning storm does not appear to be moving your area. It's moving to the east-northeast, that is, and so really the northern part of Waxahachie, Red Oak, Ferris, Palmer will probably be the areas that have to deal with this over the next several minutes. And it looks like it's already weakening quite a bit. As you can see, there's really not any kind of concentrated pink anymore. There's almost not even any concentrated areas of red so much. Maybe a little bit to the northwest of Midlothian and the Venus area, but certainly not the concentrated area of heavy rain and heavy precipitation that we saw just a few minutes ago. So we are fortunately looking at a situation that's kind of weakening a little bit, kind of diminishing and kind of calming down, if you will. So we're looking at a relatively docile situation for the most part, as far as this whole situation is concerned. Gwendolyn, nothing happening really in Rager Springs at the moment. Again, you can see on the map where things are for the most part. And if you're not inside of that polygon, you got nothing to worry about. I would really even say areas south of Waxahachie really are not going to see much of anything at all. You may have some of this moderate rain, kind of this steady rain south of Maypearl that may move off to the east a little bit, but for the most part, the severe warm storm is probably going to stay north of Waxahachie and Palmer, I would say. I don't think that we're going to be seeing anything south of that area. And again, the storm that's there that is prompting the warning is not really going to be doing a whole heck of a lot. It's not going to be doing a whole lot in that area. I think this was just a kind of a quick spell of a stronger storm that did prompt that warning briefly, but it looks like there may be some more activity that's kind of interrupting the updraft for this storm, kind of interrupting the storm fuel, if you will. Some of these storms from the south moving up, you can see that they kind of cut it off and kind of mess with its structure a little bit. So I think that competing for some of those storm ingredients has probably kind of changed it a little bit. But again, just to reiterate, I know a lot of people are a little gun shy from severe weather after this past Monday, and really this whole season. We've had an active season here in North Texas for severe weather, so I know a lot of people are kind of nervous about that, but the good news is that we're really not looking at anything like what we had over the past week. Certainly not anything like the tornado we saw that moved through southern Waxahachie about a week ago. So we're good to go. Not dealing with any of those kind of things. That severe thunderstorm warning goes for only about another 20 minutes or so. We're not, probably not, I would say, I would be surprised if we even get anything after that. I think that the severe thunderstorm warning will be allowed to expire after the storm is done moving through. Once that happens, yeah, I think it'll be allowed to expire, if not cancel a little bit early. There's only about another 16, 17 minutes in it, so it may be just allowed to go on and expire. And then again, overnight tonight, we're going to have more showers and thunderstorms. As you can see down in the Brownwood area right now, more severe storms, and you can see even those are weakening. And a lot of that's probably because the sun's going down. Temperatures are going to continue to drop. So I think overnight tonight, we're going to see kind of some of this lazy shower and thunderstorm activity where you kind of just get used to it. You hear the low rumble of the thunder and the pitter-patter of the rain, and hopefully it's relaxing more so than the severe weather has been this whole season. Because I know at least for me, I've had enough of the crazy stuff already to this point. I'm good if we don't have any more of that at all. So we'll do one last kind of zoom in here. That severe thunderstorm warning set to expire in about 15 minutes, but it does look like this storm is quickly weakening, quickly losing steam as it moves across I-35 now. Raining in Waxahachie with, as you can see, this last frame, a little bit more rain developing in the Waxahachie area, so it does look like more of Ellis County kind of getting in on the action a little bit. Heavier rain now south of Maypearl, but I don't expect that to really intensify into anything major. So overall, I think tonight, a few rumbles of thunder as possibly some heavy rain here and there moves through, but just a brief severe thunderstorm event as this activity moved through. And as you can see on the kind of leading end, and I'll show you this as well, you can see possibly some gusty winds moving in along with this activity, but again, nothing that was due the kind of damage that we were seeing just a few days ago. Of course, in southern Waxahachie, not looking at that kind of a major situation. Of course, the hairy part last weekend was that we saw or early last week, as we saw the tornado move through, and then we saw the very gusty winds move in behind it. So we're kind of dealing with a double whammy there. Made it hard to see what damage was what, but certainly, at least I thought so. But man, as I got out there and surveyed the damage in southern Waxahachie, southern and southwestern portions of the Waxahachie area, man, it was pretty clear. And Matt and I both were out there. It was pretty dead gum clear that was a tornado. And some of the damage was just very, very telling. Sometimes tornadoes leave very, very clear footprints. And that was definitely one of them. So one more time to pause the radar, kind of take a look at what we've got going on. Heavy rain from the Ovilla area over to Midlothian. Heavier rain developing right now in the Waxahachie area. This severe thunderstorm warning will run out in about 15 minutes, will expire. And I don't expect anything else to be added on to that because, again, it's going to be a pretty docile evening. This storm is weakening to the point where it's not even a severe weather threat for the most part right now. But I do think that we will be able to wrap this stream up and say, hey, we're not really looking at a severe thunderstorm situation at this time. As this continues to move eastward, if another severe weather threat does come up, of course, we will bring more live coverage at that point. But I think right now we can get back to dinner, get back to evening television, whatever the situation might be at your home, as we continue to rest off this Monday. I know for me, it's been nice to get a little bit of a break. Classes were busy, work was busy, everything was going on, and to finally have unloaded a little bit of that to kind of bring Ellis County weather forward to the forefront a little bit more as we hopefully begin moving into wrapping up severe weather season here in the next few weeks. So thank you for tuning in. Watch the page for more updates, not only on tonight, but over the next couple of days. Of course, more rain tonight, very rainy tomorrow, more rain tomorrow night. Then we'll finally start getting out of that rainy period on Wednesday. Stay tuned for more updates to come.